Welcome to You Matter in Business. Your hosts today are Ariel, me, and Miriam.
Your heart, your brand story, and your success because you matter in your business. Hi, and welcome to You Matter in Business this week. Hi, Ariel. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. So, this week, we're discussing something that I think is an incredibly important subject. And I'm really keen to understand how you see it from your point of view. So this week we're talking about self-worth, about our own personal value. So tell me, Ariel, how does that work for you? How do you define it in your life?
My own self-worth?
Uh-huh.
For me, that is how I see myself. So you grow up with millions of external beliefs kind of thrown at you, and it takes you 20 years to develop a sense of self, which is
Mm-hmm.
now distorted. So it takes another 30, 40, 50 years to get all that distortion out and throw it away and see your self-worth. Sorry.
It's a long journey then. So this isn't something that we're born with. This is something that we have to grow into.
I actually think we are born with it. If you look at the freedom of a young child, they don't care what people think. They're just having fun being them. It's these restrictions that we get along the way when we go to school and we have to behave a certain. It's all those things that kind of make us adapt to other people's expectations. So we lose that joy and that normal, the authentic child kind of like turns into this grumpy teenager.
Okay. So I think I kind of know what self-worth isn't, but I struggle more with what it actually is in terms of being able to define it for somebody else. So if I kind of say what I think it isn't, and then we can distill it into what I think it, or what we come up with is that it is. Is that okay?
Yep.
So I kind of think that self-worth isn't based on qualifications. It isn't based on our taste in art or what we wear or what car we drive or what our monetary value, our financial net worth is. And it's not even, we can't define it by the number of people that follow us on social media. All of those things are not our self-worth because I think those things are external validations. Those things are achievements.
100%.
So the way I look at it in terms of self-worth is, for me, is if you had all of those external things stripped away from you, if you lost your car, you lost your job, you lost your house, you know, nobody followed you on social media. If you had all that, what's left? Are you still a valuable person? And the answer is obviously yes. But often when we lose those things, we also lose a sense of self-worth. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think it's a part of what is value in the first place, which we have that whole workshop coming up. That's going to be a live webinar in the future. So that's all
Mm.
about worth. So, and what is value and how do we find it if we lost it? It- but if you define value, which a lot of people do, by the clothes they wear, the car they drive, the neighborhood they live in, whatever, right? That's usually a monetary prestige. If you are defining your worth by that, or you have been taught that that is what makes that's value, and not the fact that you have a loving family and you are happy and I had an experience that kind of changed my way of looking at life. But when I was with people who were really poor, I'm
Mhm.
talking the house is a concrete block, not finished, and they're living in there and they're as happy as can be and they have hardly
Yeah.
anything. And they're happy. And you have to say to yourself, okay, they have nothing, literally, from our perspective. And they're living in what we would call a shed.
Hmm.
And they're having their life is good. I mean, it might be hard,
Yeah.
but it's good. So I had to analyze a lot of that at that point. What was the difference between the way we were brought up and the way that they were brought up, and it was very much a value thing. We are taught that if you're not a doctor and a lawyer and an architect or or one of those things, you haven't gone to your 8-year degree and you haven't written your dissertation, y- you don't have value yet. That's
Mhm.
bullcrap.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's what we've been taught. So we have to then look at ourselves and redefine what value is.
Yeah.
We have to redefine it.
And I think it's central. I think our actual values are central to that as well. I think it's, how do we treat other people? How do we, what respect do we show to other people? How much compassion do we have? How much empathy do we have? All those kind of, do we put other people first before ourselves? Those kind of things. The more we increase those, I think that gives us our self-value, our own self-worth, because we're we're worthwhile people. So tell me, how do you for yourself distinguish between your intrinsic value and your external achievements? Because I know you're really good at this. We've had lots of conversations around this subject, and you're really good knowing your own self-worth. So how do you do that?
It took me years to see it, because there were many, many years I operated on a completely different set of thinking that pretty much kept me stuck and in horrible situations. So I've been on both sides. I know the depth of no value,
Uh-huh.
the belief of no value, and then I know losing everything, which I have
Mm-hmm.
done, literally lost house, job, husband, all like within a couple months. Um, so when you go through some of those experiences where you're really down to minimum basic, the only people left are the few people in your family. It
Uh-huh.
really makes you look at what is important. You spend your life. My father was a workaholic. He lived for work because he wanted to do what his father couldn't, because his father died when he was young, and they lived very poor, which is kind of, it's not funny, but the story becomes funny when I get there. The So because of that, he worked super hard to have all those things, to drive that car, to have his family live in that neighborhood, but he had no time for his family.
Yeah.
He never knew his family. We never knew him. He would sit and, read, and then my mother would sit and read, and, so we just didn't really have a family life. So when I had 4 children and they were all young and I was stuck alone with nothing, I
Mm-hmm.
had to really start looking at what's important. And I made decisions to be poor. That sounds funny, but I mean, that time I could go, well, at that time I couldn't, but I could go out and get a very high paying job if I wanted to work. And I did at one point during this disaster. I did it for a year, actually. And I didn't see my daughter the whole time. She was only
Mm-hmm.
2, but I missed a whole year of her life because I was too busy working. And, you make decisions and you realize they're not working and you've got to change them. So I
Mm-hmm.
just said the heck with that. And that's when it all crashed and we lost the house and a bunch of other stuff. But actually, it's a perfect place to start,
Yeah.
because then I could go, okay, how can I keep my life simple? I have nothing. So let's keep it simple.
Uh-huh.
And that opened up doors of opportunities for me because I kept my life simple, not complicated with a bunch of things. So the getting back to the value itself, when I could see what was really valuable is when I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I was left with the most beautiful children, personality wise. They're all extremely different, but they're all amazing. And you could look at that and go, no matter what I've accomplished in my life, I have raised 4 incredible kids that are
Mm-hmm.
very good with they make a serious contribution to society. They're very hard workers. They have very good morals and ethics. And then I began to see, despite everything, which is a lot, I was still able to do that. Why? Why was I able to do that? Because the core of me has always been the same. The core of me always valued the people,
Yeah.
always valued being kind, not lying, all the basic principles that I live by. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not just a belief. It's me. It's been here since I was 4, probably
Mm-hmm.
even younger, but that's me, and I value those things. So then I started to see the value in myself.
Yeah. So it's down to ethics and moral and value. And I was reading a social media post today about how you, no one ever says on their deathbed, "Oh, I wish I'd spent a few more hours at work." But they do say, "I wish I'd spent some more time with my children," or that kind of thing. And I think almost at this time of year, it's actually, we do need to kind of spend time as with the families and make those memories. And it's less about the gifts that we give and more about spending time with people and our families, and how important that is, and how that outlook is our self-worth and our value. So, okay, so talk to me about this in your professional life. So you must see women all the time when they come to you for photographs with very low self-worth. So how do you, through the photographs, through the camera, how do you allow them to show their worth?
If they don't feel their own worth, it's very hard for me to pull it out. So I usually try to work with them beforehand. If I think most people don't want to be in front of the camera in the first place. Most women, especially
Mm.
if they're seeing all their flaws. So one thing I try to do is when I present my galleries, the images that I've completed, is cameras will do distortion, will make flaws look bigger than does in real life. So my test is, did I notice that? Because I'm looking at a person really huge on my screen. Did I
Yeah,
notice that flaw when I was with them for a half a day? The answer to that question is no. I didn't notice it at all. So what does that tell me?
it's, well, it's not noticeable.
So I minimize it visually. I don't necessarily get rid of it, but I minimize it, reducing shadows and other things so that it's, because when you look at the flat image, it like stands out, right? Because whatever's light comes forward, whatever's dark goes back. That's what our vision does.
Right.
So in a photograph, when you have dark on light, what happens? Your
It goes
eye's
up.
drawn. It's a contrast. It's drawn.
Yeah.
So you just reduce those contrasts in certain areas. You don't change the features. And then they see what I see. And to me, that's the difference. And it's amazing when women, and a lot of women have said that you captured me the way they see themselves. And instead of, like, a lot of times you'll go and you'll go, man, that doesn't look like me at all. Well, that's not what you want, right? Or I look horrible or
I don't
whatever,
know.
but
I don't know. I'd quite like to have photographs that are not me.
we can use AI and make ourselves all kinds of things nowadays, but that's not really authentic. But anyway, it's fun, but so there is a little bit of a mind. I have to do a little bit of well, actually a lot of encouragement. Not for every client, because some are very self-confident, but the ones that aren't, I just work a little extra hard to make them feel confident that I've got them. I'm going to take care of them. They don't have to worry about anything. Don't know how to pose. They don't know where to put the hands. We'll work it out as we go, and we'll play. I use play a lot in this because
Hmm.
to me, the art of play, when you're nervous and laughing and being a little bit silly on occasion, it allows you to come back to that little 5-year-old that is beautiful, that
Yeah.
knew they were beautiful. It allows you to go right back there when you had value.
Yeah.
So
I
that
like that.
now starts to come out.
And you achieve it really well in your photo shoots. Not only because I've had a photo shoot with you and I know how much fun it was, and I love the end results, and I hate looking at photographs of myself. So you must have done something right. But I've been on photo shoots with you for other people, and I know that some people have walked into that room really nervous. In fact, I remember one lovely lady, she absolutely gorgeous lady, but she was not having a very good day. And she came in not wanting to have a photograph taken at all. And by the end of it, you took some amazing photographs. She looked fantastic, and she was smiling, and she genuinely smiling and genuinely having a good time. And I think that lifted her day, probably lifted her week. And I've seen her testimonial since then, and how complimentary she was to you about those photographs, and just how much she felt like $1 million. So I think even though we don't know it, we can have influence on people all the time in everything that we do, through coaching, through photography, through just smiling at somebody on the subway, or saying hello or noticing that somebody is looking down, to recognize somebody as an individual and just talk to them and smile at them, or just have some interaction with them, and that can change their whole perception of their own self-worth as they enter that day. So I think a lesson for us all that we can affect other people's self-worth as well, and that's really important.
Have you seen the YouTube or you one of those real, I don't know what it was, but it was it's probably on all of them, but it was a guy that was standing at a bus stop and there was all these people being alone, doing their thing on their phones and reading their whatever. They were all like disconnected. And then he just starts laughing,
Yeah.
like looking at something, reading it, and he just starts belly laughing. And then within minutes, everybody around him starts smiling, laughing. Everybody who was down, it lifted them all up. And that is one thing that I think the more you give that to other people, the more you have it in yourself.
Yeah,
That
I
may
agree.
sound funny, but if you walk around smiling and they smile back at you, I mean, some people will give you that funny look. That's fine. But more people will be happy you smiled at them.
Yeah.
If you're
And
friendly to the poor lady that has to, be a cash register lady. I mean, who wants that job? I can't think of anyone that wants it, but they have it because they need it. And they have millions of people coming through, and most of them are rude. Most of them ignore them. If you start talking to them like they're a human and you care about them, the shift happens and you see it. And they are now happier to be doing their job. So it is absolutely, and then you feel happy because they're happy. And that's what it's a loop.
yeah, it is. So I do a 31-day challenge for my clients. And one of the days that I do is about smiling. And smiling uses more muscles. So it's actually a workout for your face. So smile every day because it works out more muscles.
That's why mine is starting to, I have smile lines because of that.
Yeah, they're not wrinkles, they're smile lines. But so do a workout with your face, smile a bit more, use all those muscles. But actually, the actual act of smiling releases those good hormones as well. So it makes you feel good. But you're right, it's contagious as well. That smiling is contagious. So allow other people to get that same feeling, allow them to get that facial workout and use those muscles, but also allow them to release those endorphins and get that serotonin, like that those feel good hormones, and allow them to lift their day as well. Don't be selfish. Smile at people. That's going to be my motto for the rest of the year. Awesome. Thank you, Ariel. I've learned a lot from that today, and I hope our listeners have as well, and that they can analyze for themselves what their own self-worth is and work out ways of increasing their self-worth. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We're going to come back with talking about self-doubt. Goes along with worth. Usually the reason why we don't have self-worth, or one of the reasons, is because we have self-doubt. So we're going to come back again and talk about that.
Can't wait.
Anything you want to tell the audience about? Some fun stuff that's coming along? We know we got retreats coming. And I do think we need to say one thing about the retreats before we close off on this one. Just for clarity, the way the retreats work is you curate the place, the venue, based on the needs of the client. So you can't have the venue and then ask the clients to come, because if I pick a Victorian home, just as an example, I'm being extremist, but if I pick a, Florida Victorian and you're very modern, you're not going to like that. Right? So it has to match your brand and your message and your future self. It just has to. And I have to collect women that are in the same path in that respect. So that's why we need people to sign up on the VIP list, because we can't curate the people and come up with the venues. It's like the cart before the horse. So
yeah, and I think you're right to point that out, because the question that I am getting asked most is, when is it and where is it?
Exactly.
And both of those questions rely on us putting the teams of people together. So there's only going to be 4 of them in each of the retreats, but we need to get the right 4 put together in the right venue to make sure that the photographs and the messaging that they draw out through the retreat that we can get the right message for them that they're going to be able to use for the rest of the year. As you say, it has to match the people. And we really want to put teams together that are going to really collaborate closely together, which means that there needs to be some synergy between the women. So that's really exciting and essential that people sign up to our VIP lists so that they can get on the right team and that we can put the right teams together. So yeah, encourage you to sign up to that VIP list. Can you just remind me, Ariel, how do they do that?
I know there's on my website, arielfaith.com, there's like 17 buttons that says join the VIP list. So you can't miss that button. And then I believe you have one too on yours.
Yeah. So enrich-life-coaching.com. That's got, I don't think I've got 17, but I've got quite a few buttons. But yeah, get signed up so that we can
pull you guys together. We have a lot that are interested, but we need just to get everybody pulled together. And the other thing we're doing next year, which is really fun, we're collaborating with another woman that you have heard being interviewed. And we are going to be bringing basically a webinar through every quarter online, so we can give a little bit of value to a lot more people that way. So that's just something we're going to bring down the road. So just throwing that little bug in the air.
Yeah, really excited by that one. That's going to be good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, Dio. We will see you again.
See you next episode. After all, it is your brand, your story, and your success. Because Ariel and I know you matter in your business.
Thank you for listening to the You Matter in Business podcast. Please follow, share, like, and comment. We would love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Ariel Faith Photography and Enrich Life Coaching. The show notes provide more information on how to contact Ariel and Miriam and any guest speakers who share in our journey together.